What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name's Jesus from TCJ Performance. Pretty much this is the shop right here. If you guys came from Instagram, thank you so much for the support on coming over here. If you guys clicked on the video solely for the Fusebox ECU relocation kit, I used the Armageddon kit for the 15 to 17 cars, so Gen 2 Coyote. This is a Gen 3. We made it work on a Gen 3. I'm gonna have a timeline or somewhere in that timeline highlighted where you guys can skip to it. All right, time for some yapping. I'm gonna try to keep it kind of brief with you guys just because I think this should be a separate video, but this is my 2020 Mustang GT-CS. My plans for this car is to be a full-on twin turbo drag car, which is the reason I'm having to do this Fusebox ECU relocation, make room for the turbo. Now you guys might think I'm crazy for just buying a car straight up twin turbos off the rip, but I'm building this so you guys can see what we're capable of doing here at TCJ Performance with me and my dad. We're gonna make sure this car runs really well, really fast. No electrical issues, no check engine lights, no problems. Kind of hard to do with the drag car, you know, you break stuff, but the quality of work, hopefully you guys will see it. Trust us with your builds and bring them over here. Pretty much the quality of work you see on this car is going to be the same quality and detail we put into your car. So I was actually recording this video as I went, and it just turned out to be way too complicated. I've never done this before. This is my first time. And it turned out perfect, turned out amazing. You guys will see all the quality and time and effort I put into this. Like, I'm literally trying to make this the perfect drag car you ever see. In order to do that, I had to put the camera down, lock in, because I don't want any electrical issues. I don't want this car shutting off of me. And especially I don't want to run into any problems in the future with it. And then you guys just tell me my car is a dud. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. I'm just going to be playing up to where I realize that I need to put the camera down and really lock in. And then I'll show you everything I did to the car. What I'll be installing today is this Armageddon Fusebox relocation kit for the 15 and 17 cars. They only make it for those cars. And as you can see, we have an 18 and up car. But I have seen this exact kit be put on one of these cars. I think the only difference is we'll have to make something up for the ECU bracket. We can't use this since the new bumper does not have enough space to fit everything in here. As well, we won't be able to use the harness extension, which is one of the main reasons I bought this kit. I don't know, for some reason I thought Gen 2 probably might work on Gen 3, but obviously it doesn't. Pretty much the Fusebox and ECU are going to be replacing the windshield washer fluid reservoir and go right under the passenger headlight, making space for the turbo right here and another turbo right here, obviously when we have a charge pipe and everything. I already got the car set up on the lift, but we're going to go ahead and start off with taking the front bumper off of the car. Good. Now we got everything unbolted, should come right off. This bumper kind of heavy, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. So now we got the bumper off. My plan of attack is to follow the Armageddon install instructions for the Gen 2 and just see where it stops lining up with the Gen 3 and just go from there. So yeah, pretty much this is what we'll be removing. Right here is the washer fluid reservoir, and you can see where it's bolted in right here. Our Fusebox bracket's gonna go right there. Our Fusebox ECU will pretty much be replacing all of this. So I got the battery disconnected. That's gonna be the first step. Anytime you're working with electronics, disconnect the battery. I got this still on there just because it's kind of, I have to take the strut off to get this off, but if it gets in the way, I'll just pull it off. So the first step on the installation guide is actually taking off all these panels from the passenger and then driver's side, so we can disconnect the wiring harness on both sides, the driver and the passenger, and be able to pull out the harness. For the driver's side, I had to take off this plastic trim right here, and as well the little latch for the hood. Pretty much what you want to do is disconnect everything harness wise on the driver's side, so that you can pull it through that firewall through the grommet right there. You have two big plugs that plug in right there, and then you have a dummy plug, or on my auto, I've seen this used on a manual car plugged in, but I just noticed on my auto it's not plugged in, so maybe it might be a manual car thing only. Then I have this other plug here, and then I have this plug, which is very annoying if you've never taken apart the pedal assembly, which I have. And so I'm going to show you, talk to you about this clip real quick, but it's the one that looks white, China made, compared to the rest of the other ones. So whenever you get to this clip, it's going to be on top of the brake pedal. It's going to be plugged into like a blue plug, and all you'll see is like a little rectangular window, and you're just going to see this right here. So pretty much what you're going to do is get the screwdriver, push it in, you'll feel it flex in a little bit. Push this in, and with the motion, just pull it right out like this. Yeah, it's very annoying because you can't see how this plug actually unplugs, but yeah, I had to sit there 30 minutes trying to figure this out the first time. All right, so I moved over to the passenger side now. It's pretty much gonna be the same thing. Remove this plastic trim here, plastic trim up there, and you're gonna want to disconnect everything on this side, this little fuse box over here. It's gonna be like 5 plugs. Pretty much the point is also to get it to where you have everything unplugged. You can pull it through the firewall, through that grommet right there. But yeah, everything's disconnected. One thing I will say is always take pictures so that you know where everything plugs back into. That's pretty much all it is. Car is now ready to have the harness pulled out on both sides, so we're gonna go ahead and take the wheels off next, and yeah, we'll get started with that. Got the wheels taken off now, and I removed the fender liner. Yeah, so I guess this is where the harness is gonna pull out through right there, and then you want to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. I got this one pulled as well. Everything looks nice and clean. I gave it a nice little wash just so everything looks nice and mint. And here's where the harness is going to come through as well. Next on the instructions, it's telling me to go ahead and remove the intake as well. They did say to remove the belly pan, but I didn't do that because I don't think it's necessary, but I guess I'll let you know if it is. Alright, so I went ahead and removed the intake over there, and you know, it's easy. Bolt here, bolt there, MAF sensor. Now we're gonna go ahead and move over to the fuse box side. Pretty much there's gonna be a couple bolts here that you have to unbolt. These two are power cables, and this looks to be a ground, so I marked it blue, and I'm just gonna remember that the blue marked one is gonna go in the middle. So that's something I like to do here, always mark stuff, take pictures of everything. This is kind of just like my workflow. I guess you guys can see if you bring in a car here, this is exactly the type of work I do, how I work on cars. Exactly like this is how you'll see me work on your car if you bring it into me. And take him out. Alright, so this is where I am with the car. I got the ECU in hand. It was very hard. Sorry, I kind of skipped a little forward. It's just I struggle with this a lot. The instructions are a little different from the Gen 2 to the Gen 3. I had to figure that out. So in the instructions, they actually have this fuse box completely like just out of the way, able to get the bolts for the ECU and just pull it right out like nothing. So this ECU actually has a bolt up at the top around here, and then it has a nut on the bottom. So bolt on this side, nut on the bottom, which is very hard to get to. On the fuse box, I just cut every single zip tie since we won't be wiring this back up the same way it was from factory. Usually I like to keep these OEM style ones. I actually push them all the way out and push them back in. And pretty much you want to unclip everything that's clipped onto the fuse box. I actually skipped a step 2. I took the washer fluid reservoir out just because I needed some slack. This cable was kind of wrapped around the neck of the bottle or the reservoir, and I just didn't have any slack, so I had to take that out. Moving on to the next step is going to be pulling the harnesses out through the driver and passenger side. I'm not too sure what to expect, but I'll give you guys an update once I'm there. Alright, so here I am. I got the fuse box out of the car. Halfway, I still have the harness going in through the driver's side. I just did this side so I could see how hard it is, and it's really hard. Pretty much I have it laid out just as it would be in the car. This is inside the car, the grommet right there, that would go right there, and then it pretty much snakes behind this into the side frame rail. I'm almost halfway done with the fuse box relocation. I still have to pull out the driver's side, but if you're like me, you got skinny arms, you're gonna be very blessed to do this job easier than most people. It's a tight fit, and I feel very bad that I kind of went ahead and skipped forward with all of this, but as you're doing it yourself, it's gonna be way less complicated. Now I'm gonna go ahead and move over and do the driver's side, which should be, I don't know, easier or harder. So over down here in the driver's side of the car, I pretty much disconnect everything, like the horns, some sensors up at the front, and the wheel speed sensor for the driver's side. Pretty much you want to disconnect everything that goes to this loom, just so that you're able to pull it out and completely pull the fuse box out. So I just got done doing a very difficult part, which is disconnecting the wiper motors. Pretty much I took out all these clips right here that you see, and I pretty much just grabbed my hand, lifted this all the way up as far as I could, stuck my finger in there, and pretty much with your finger just grab middle finger like this, you're able to just put it on there and pull it. So yeah, this whole thing hasn't been easy. It's a bunch of hard to get to stuff. My hands are all cut up from trying to reach in there. If you have big hands, good luck, because man, this was extremely tough. That's probably the hardest thing this whole install. That and pulling that snaking that one out. So I got the harness out. Sorry guys, I'm kind of skipping forward, but it's really straightforward, to be honest. It's just hard to do. It's just time consuming to get everything out. But pretty much you saw in the last clip where I said I had to pull this out right here in the the frame rail. We have some plugs here, about like 3, like brake fluid level, the ABS, brake booster, the motor for the wipers, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff right here too. The headlight, under the headlight, horn, some speed sensors, like I said back in the previous clip. It's just so much you got to do. There's no easy way to go about this. I mean, you're going the harder route, twin turbo. I think the only thing I have left really is to fish it through here, and the fuse box will come out. It's 2:39 in the middle of the night. I'm tired, but I'm trying to get this done just because that's how I like to work. I don't know why. I just work like this. There's no reason to. Like, I have no reason to. Like, this car, there's no rush to be built. I'm going to take my time with it, but yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. And we got the other. Woo! We got it out, boys. Here it is, the whole fuse box. The fuse box is right there. This is the passenger side, easy side. And then the rest of this, which is pretty much goes over the radiator or the crash bar and into the driver's side. Wow, here's the car, guys. It looks so clean without a fuse box in there now. I just love the clean engine bay look so much. And then to fill it up with a turbo, it's gonna be really nice. So yeah, we got it out. I'm probably gonna go to sleep now. It's like 3 o'clock. I'm not too sure when I'll work on this again. So yeah, this is how the car looks like with the fuse box relocation and the ECU out of the way. So I got the ECU down in here. The fuse box would go like this, and then have some power cables, just a whole bunch of mess of cables there. It looked really ugly, but yeah, now we have space for the passenger side turbo to go on there. The fuse box gets relocated down in here. I'm about to take everything off. You guys will see it, but I just wanted to show you guys pretty much what it looked like as NA, as stock as you could get. And I'm gonna show you guys that it is fully working. You guys can see the ambient lighting turn on, dash turns on, pony logo, car turns on, it works, AC works, everything works. Only got 10 miles till empty. So yeah, now that you guys see that it's functioning and working, I'm gonna lift the car up in the air, take the wheels off, bumper off, show you guys pretty much a whole rundown of everything I had to do to get this to work. Alright guys, so I got the bumper off, I got the wheels off, I even got the passenger side headlight off just so you guys can see everything in very good detail. Also recommend taking it off if you're going to work on this and make it easier. I'm going to start off by letting you guys know I used the Armageddon ECU fuse box relocation kit for a 15 to 17 car. They only make it for the Gen 2 cars, not a Gen 3. But there's only one thing you really have to change, which is the ECU bracket. I'm going to start off with the ECU bracket, then the fuse box, and then we'll show the wiring. As well, this is a guide. This is not really a how-to. I'm just showing you how I did everything, what you need to do. You should already be mechanically inclined if you're going to take on a project like this, and you should already know how to do kind of this stuff. I'm not going to show you how to do it, just too much to explain. I'm just going to show you what you need to do. Alright guys, so this is the ECU setup. It's going to be at an angle like this. On the Gen 2 cars, it's actually supposed to sit right here with the ECU bracket this kit comes with, but with the facelift on the 2018-2023, the headlight is way too big and the fender's too tight. There's not enough space to actually have it out there. I think the ECU would come out to like here or something like this, but yeah, it's gonna have to be like this. I used the bracket that it came with because it's nice stainless steel, and I used it and I cut flat bar, and I have it pretty much a piece of flat bar bent right here at a 90, twisted a little bit, and it fits into this bolt hole inside the ECU right here. Very tough, took a lot of time. It's kind of tedious, not hard. Here I also have some more flat bar right here. I just have flat bar and then bent up at the right angle, and I think I threaded this, I believe, or I put a nut I'm not too sure what I did. I forgot. This is what I did. It's very good quality. The ECU is really sturdy in there. It's not really moving. I mean, it's gonna have some play, obviously. It's only these two little things holding it, but nowhere near as if it was just hanging on there with the plugs. All right, I got the car up in the air a little bit more. We can see the fuse box here, but it's actually being held on by a bracket, not zip ties. Well, kind of, but it's held on with the bracket, and I have some zip ties here from some extra support. Just make sure it's in there. It's not gonna come off. The one neat thing about having this bracket here is actually, if you were to do like an on-3 kit or something, you kind of have to figure this out yourself. Imagine you do all this work and the wheel does not clear, the rotor does not clear, it hits the fuse box, you got to redo it all over again. So with this bracket, it's actually in the perfect spot, no second guessing, nothing. It goes where it goes, and you won't have any clearance issues at all. I have zero clearance issues with any of this. Now with the wiring, it may look really confusing here, but once you're actually doing it yourself, you'll know exactly where all these wires are and what they come from. What I used was use some good quality connectors here, or something of similar like that, and I just grabbed the factory one off for the ground and I put it there. So we're gonna start off with the wiring now. For the power and the ground cable, these are gauge 2 wire from Harbor Freight, 6 feet long. I only had to cut the ground. 6 feet is good enough from the battery down to where it needs to run. And for the ground, it pretty much just comes from the battery, from the top right here. This is like for a gas release. I guess when the battery builds up gas or it gets hot, it releases here. I just ran the cable straight through there. You could take this plastic piece off. If you're gonna do this, make sure you put something soft around like the metal right here, because it can cut into the cable with the vibration. What I did is, my car still had this little thing. I cut it open a little more, but yeah, the cable goes from there, goes down in here, and then it goes to the back of the ECU bracket right there, to that distribution block right there. I tapped the back of the fuse box bracket and I put some bolts in there to bolt that in, and that distribution block did come with the kit. Now this power cable with the red on here like this, that's from factory, that's OEM from the harness. And this right here is where I grounded the ground that's on the actual harness here. So now it no longer goes to the battery, it grounds here, and the battery is just grounded to the chassis there. Now for the cables on the actual harness itself, you have this cable that runs right through there, and I ran it under just because if I hit a bump, this suspension is going to go up, and if I had ran it up here, I could risk it maybe pinching. I mean, I really seriously doubt it's going to do anything here, but I just rather just have it here where it's out of the way, out of the suspension. Now another part of the harness is this, where it goes inside of the passenger side car. I think there's a fuse box and some modules back there. Just unplug them, it's just plugs. This grommet easily comes off, you just pull on it, it comes right off. Now originally this cable is ran on the inside of the frame of the car. Now you're moving this all out, and it's also wrapped in some heat shield protectant, which I took off. It looks very ugly leaving it in there like that, and I just used some like wire harness tape. Now another part of this harness here is that big gray plug right there. I don't know if it goes into the ECU or where it really goes to, but on this Gen 3 you have space, it reaches. You don't need the extension that comes in the kit. You actually do need it though. So for the ECU extension harness, there's this cable right here that comes into the ECU, and you can actually use it right here. Use that harness, you see the white cables, that's the extension, and yeah, you could use it right there, it works. The only bit of extending I had to do was the AC pressure switch. The kit comes with the plug, it comes pinned out already with plenty of cable, so much extra that I could actually use it on another project or something. For all these little miscellaneous grounds, I have everything grounded here off. That's how it should be from the factory. I also have, I think this is another fuse box ground wire. It's all just grounded right there, same factory locations. It's gonna look a little messy like this because this is the factory chassis harness. It's not meant to be routed this way, it's meant to be routed, you know, the way it comes from factories, and you just kind of have to make it all work. And for the rest of the harness, it kind of just comes up here like how it would from factory. Comes over here under the light, and yeah, it just plugs into the headlight. This is also for the turn signal on this side. The ground's still grounded to the factory location, I believe this is. And if not, I think I did sand some paint off here so I could still make a good ground contact there. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Sorry if it was like a little too much. It was a little too much for me, but we solved it. We got the car running. You saw it works fine. Like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to me on TCJ Performance on Instagram, and I'll get back to you. Since I'm small, I can, you know. Sorry if this video was kind of all over the place on this. It's my first video. Quality should get better. Once I start building this car for real, I'm gonna be the cameraman, my dad's gonna be welding everything, so I'll be able to record everything so much better. Yeah, next video on the channel should be relocating those AC lines and hopefully getting the headers in. Pretty much right now it's gonna be boring stuff, relocating, moving stuff out of the way, and then we can get to the welding, TIGging, all that nice fun stuff. Yep, but that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video.